This is the Political Spotlight.
The Political Spotlight is a joke. It's more like a political flop.
Nobody listens to Bilbrey.
He's just a wannabe podcaster. No one takes him seriously.
He is a rude, crude dude that will never go any further than broadcasting from his mother's basement.
Bilbrey is a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians.
Grab another box of Twinkies and generic cola, Bilbrey.
And get back to your microphone and your audience of nobodies.
The Political Spotlight is a joke.
He is like a rude, crude dude that will never go
Bilbrey's a wrecking ball for Indiana politics. Shut that stupid Bilbrey up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We had a crazy show last night. I apologize for last night's debacle. It was good and bad. All right. So let me just do this for a moment here, folks. If you would be so kind to oblige me for just a little bit, we'll do a story time with Bilbrey. Before we do that, hit the like, share, subscribe, do all of that stuff. We would love it if you did it. That would be wonderful. But before we get into the show, you know, I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine today, somebody that I consider a pretty close friend, somebody I talk to frequently and I communicate with, and we're on the same page on a lot of things, and there's some things we're not on the same page about, but mostly we're on the same page. And this guy says to me, "Hey, I watched a video of you and I got to talk to you about it." And like, I could tell by the way that he was talking that it was like he was getting ready to approach. This was not Brandon, by the way. I just had a great time with Brandon. For those of you that are not 110% sure, Brandon is alive. He's doing well. I just communicated with him. I saw him in the flesh. We went to McDonald's and got a malt with 2 straws, and we sat across from each other, looking into each other's eyes, drinking this strawberry malt. And then we skipped holding hands into the Elks Country Club and watched a performance by J.D. Prescott. J.D. walked up to us and said, "Hello, Bilbrey. Hello, Brandon." Like we were long-lost friends. Yeah, yes. Brandon got... Here's what's funny with Brandon. So, most of you get it. I've got like 3 stories going on right now, so this is definitely like Bilbrey Storytime Inception. We got like a story inside a story inside a story. It feels like I've just done meth, but I haven't. I'm just high on life, baby. So, some of you may or may not know that Brandon comes on the program, Brandon Rudd, and as the mysterious, mystical co-host, Brandon uses a stage name, a screen name, a nom de plume. You know, he's using an alias. His name is really Brandon, but he uses a fake last name. And so what's funny is, I'm going to tell the story. We would go record pieces for the Kendall and Casey show. And Brandon would like be with us and would be on the air, Brandon Rudd. Kendall would be like, It's the bastards of politics or the political spotlight or whatever name he called us at the time. And we would be talking, and Brandon would be talking on the radio and as Brandon Rudd. And we would record the pieces at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And then we'd get back to Muncie, and Brandon would go to work. And Brandon, the man, would be sitting at work with his coworkers, and they would be listening to 93.1 WIBC, and our segment would come on. And his coworkers didn't know that was Brandon sitting there talking. That is just comical to me. But so, yeah, Brandon uses an alias, and it's always interesting when Brandon has been actually talked about or recognized more than what he knows. Brandon is actually talked about more to me. I get people that come up and talk to me about Brandon all the time, but Brandon was at this meeting, and I'm not going to name the person who came up and said something to him, but the man came up and said, "Hey, you're Brandon Rudd. It's good to see you in the flesh," or whatever. So, yeah, Brandon got a little bit of a little bit of a thing. Yeah, yes, I'm sure that's what was going on, Kate. I'm certain that's what he's like. Man, this Brandon guy is really intelligent. It's not like he changed his voice or anything, so it's like him. It's just really funny. So that's story number one. Story number two, and I got to tell you this: somebody came up, and I don't know who this person is. For the life of me, I could not tell who this person was, but I have to say this. A woman came up, and not, I wouldn't say elderly, not elderly, but older, younger than my grandparents, older than my mother. Okay. So I'm 45 or something like that, and somewhere around in there. And so she was definitely older than me, definitely older than my mother, younger than my grandparents. So in the late 60s. That's amazing, Lenny. Thank you for that. So she comes up to me and she says, "I just wanted to tell you, I've been watching you since Ridenhour called you Stupid Bilbrey." That's a long time. That was 2019. He called me Stupid Bilbrey in the November 2019 city council meeting when he was still a city councilor. He had been elected mayor. He was the mayor-elect, but he was still a councilor, and he called me Stupid Bilbrey while he was sitting on the council. "Let's shut that stupid Bilbrey up." I can hear him saying it like I've got it down, his tone, it's the staccato way he says it. "Let's shut that stupid Bilbrey up." I can just perfectly. So that's a long time. I mean, some of you have been here a lot longer than that, but I appreciate this. And this woman comes up and says, "I want to tell you, I really appreciate." Now, she didn't say what you do. She said, "I really appreciate what you guys do," meaning me, Kate, Brandon, the whole kit and caboodle here. All right. And she said, "I just wanted to tell you how much it means to me, because I have had some health issues, and I haven't been able, it's kind of getting out and going's been kind of on the back burner. And so I am able to follow along, and I'm able to be engaged and hear what's going on and stay informed. And if I agree or disagree, I love your input, whatever you say, whether I agree or disagree. I love the way you look at things, and I appreciate it. And I just wanted to give you, you guys a thank you, and give you, Yeah, right. Give you, a little something. And so I'm not going to talk about that, but first and foremost, I want to tell her, if you're listening, when you listen to this, thank you. I said, what's your name? And she said, I'm not going to tell you that. And, I absolutely love it that she was like, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you who I am, which I think is great. And I didn't know who she was, but I wish I did. I would never out her. She should know that by now. But I really appreciate the things that she said. I didn't. Dan Ridenauer, Karen. Dan Ridenauer. And I'm very. It was not Tweety Bird. It wasn't Tweety Bird. I don't know if she's still alive or what she's doing out in the world. I'm sure it's some kind of sick, twisted, liberal freak show that she's doing. I don't know, but I don't know. Hey there, Brandon is. So I wanted to say that I was very thankful of her coming up. She did not need to do what she did, but I appreciate it, and I appreciate the words more than anything. And so that means a lot to us, because around here you're kicked in the teeth, and it's you got to learn to love the small little victories and the small things. That's what counts. So that's Brandon, Lenny. That's Brando, who said sorry to you, in case you didn't know. It's you. So that's story number one. Story number two, I had a great time with Brandon, talking with Brandon. But back to my original story, I was talking to somebody else besides Brandon, who's also a friend. And he said to me, we'd been talking and having a good conversation, and he's like, all right, I got to let you go. And yes, Jackie, absolutely. Absolutely. People do not like truth tellers. I know, a lot of people don't, but then a lot of people do. And those are the people that I appreciate. So I had been having a kind of a good, funny, kind of jovial conversation with this buddy. And all of a sudden we were like, okay, well, you get off, have a good day. I got to get off here. You have a good day. Be safe, whatever, da, 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 da. And he stops and he says, wait a minute. I've got to ask you something. And he's like, I've been meaning to ask you this. And I could tell that he was like serious. Like it was some kind of, like, I was like, I don't know what you're getting at, man. It seems real serious, He's like, yeah, I watched a video of you. And like Kate was like, what do you mean? Like one of like 10,000 different videos? I make, that's what I do for a living. And he's like, no, he was like, it was really strange. And he was like, I'll be honest. I couldn't tell if you were joking or if you were being serious. And I was like, what? I started laughing. So I'm going to let you guys see this video. Remember when I said, remember what I said last night. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to get into it. But it's that time of year, so we're just kind of doing what we do here, all right? So bear with me. I'm going to take you down this a little bit of a story time. So I'm going to share this with you and let you see what this... what is this? Give me a second. I've got to make sure that... Okay. Yes, that can happen. Modify settings. All right, give me a second here. I forgot last night that I did this thing, and it's making me like it's having to relearn all of my secrets. Give me a second here. Damn it. So I want you guys to watch this video. I know. That's what. Guess where? Brandon and I went to Westside Park, and we didn't get murdered. So that's good. It's always good to not get murdered when you go to Westside Park. People's like, that's not funny. I know, but you know, political spotlight. Okay, here we are. So I want you to watch this video, and I want you to just take everything out of your mind. Just pay attention to the video, and I want you to think again that you don't know me. But see, this guy knew me. I just can't believe this guy. It's really shocking. All right, watch this and tell me what your thoughts are here upon watching this video. And we'll get this going here. Okay. Okay, so I feel like I have to tell my story. This is part one of, I don't know how many parts this will be, but I will tell the whole story because I feel like I need to be heard. Moreover, I want to make sure that there aren't others out there that have gone through the same thing that I have gone through. So, back some time ago, I moved back to Muncie, my hometown where I was born in, the city I was born and raised in. I had moved away and was gone for about 10 years. And when I moved back to Muncie, I had this overwhelming desire to get involved locally with my local government and just kind of see what they were doing, go through the steps, and just, attend meetings and find out what my mayor was doing, and the city councilors, and the county commissioners, and just the various elected officials in my home community. And so I just looked up online when the first meeting was, just the very next first meeting, and it happened to be a Muncie City Council meeting. And it just so happens that during this time, we were also in the middle of an election for city officials. And I listened to all of them and talked to them. And, we had a very, at first, professional relationship as a citizen and a candidate. But in quick order, I developed this relationship with all of these people, and in quick succession, I fell in love with all of them. And I think that they all fell in love with me, but they knew what they were doing. It was like so very hot and cold. Like, they would let me ask them questions while they were candidates, and they would answer them, and they would tell me that I could always ask them questions, and they would give me the answers that I needed, and they would talk to me about certain things that they wanted to do, and they would tell me how they were going to make things so much better, and how things were just going to be better than they had ever been before. And that kind of thing it was exactly what I needed to hear as a citizen, as an American, as a Hoosier, but moreover, I am a political commentator, so I am in this world, and they knew this. And I feel as though they took advantage of me, because they would allow me to talk with them. They would allow me to ask them questions and push the envelope, and they were there. But then once they took office, they just put up this wall, and it was like they were so very cold at this point, but they would give me these little crumbs of communication and information, and it would let me know that they were still very much connected, and that they were in love with me too. And all right, so I'll go ahead and kill it here, because everybody's like, "What the hell is this?" I would send. So this is me being stupid. I recorded this on, I just left. That's funny that you say that, Kate. You sound like an abused ex-girlfriend. That's hilarious. So I had just left my grandparents' house. I'd spent the night with my grandparents.
That abused ex-girlfriends are funny.
I like that caveat. That's funny. You made it funny. So it's funny that you mentioned that. So I had just spent the night. I'd spent the night with my grandparents, and I had left and was going to do something. And that night, I had watched this series on TikToks. This is back when all of the things were going crazy on TikToks, when somebody would get on and post like several, like part 1, part 2, part 3. There was this black woman that got like viral because she had married this guy, and he had like lied to her about everything, like lied about his family. And I'd watched that. And then what I'm parroting is, there was a woman who did she did a TikTok video, and she came out and she said, "Now I'm going to start off, and I'm going to tell you guys that I'm diagnosed borderline personality." Now, for those of you that don't know what borderline personality disorder is, it's a personality disorder. Men and women can both be affected by it, but it's predominantly diagnosed in women. And it's the women like that are like clingy, abusive, gets mad, leaves, wants you back, wants to kill you, loves you, wants to break up, and they become like psycho jealous. They're the people that read into things that's not there, and they're not always dangerous, but it can become dangerous. And so this woman, and that's just a very, very, very broad brush overview of borderline personality. I didn't do it very well, but that's just in a nutshell. And so this woman comes on and she tells everybody, really? In real life, Alva? I mean, because not everybody's crazy and nuts, but it can be treated, and it's something that you can be dealt with, but it has to be dealt with either through talk therapy or medication or different things. There's different ways to deal with it. But untreated, it can be very bad. It can be bad if it's untreated and you don't know. The problem is a lot of people don't know that they have it. And so, that's the problem. And so this woman tells us straight off the bat that she's borderline personality disorder. Then she goes on to tell us how she's mad at her psychiatrist because he fell in love with her and he allowed her to fall in love with him. But at the same time, he was telling her that he was not interested in her, that, she needed to keep things appropriate. And everything that she said about him, like, everybody listening to the story was like, dude, he doesn't love you. You're suffering from transference, which is another psychological condition when people, it happens with doctors that are very close to their patients, but really with talk therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, when the patient makes a bond with the doctor and then believes that they're falling in love with that person, or they believe that this person's taking on a parental role or a mother role, father role, or a boyfriend or girlfriend role. And it's something that they have to work through. And oftentimes psychiatrists and psychologists will have to sometimes talk to somebody because they might have it towards a patient, because you're learning these really intimate details and you feel really close. It's a weird relationship dynamic to hear these private feelings about someone. And so the whole story this woman was telling, this god-awful situation where she was basically stalking this psychiatrist, and she was like, oh yes, he's in love with me. I know he's in love with me, but he keeps pushing me away, but that's because he loves me. I know that he loves me. And it was just, everybody could see like it was a train wreck. And it was like, she said like she was going to do it in 5 parts. She was going to tell 5 parts, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. Like at some time during the 85th part, I was like, holy shit, I've been sucked into this. And so there were a bunch of people doing a parody of that. And that was my version of that parody, because I was like, this is a great relationship, me with these elected officials, because look, they treat me like crap and they won't communicate with me and they try to push me away and they won't return my phone calls and they won't return my emails and they won't communicate and they won't be honest and they lie and they cheat and they steal. So I was like, I'm going to parody this with elected officials. And I put that out on TikTok and it got like a lot of play. And I only did 1 part. It was a joke. I went on, I put sappy music on or whatever. And literally this dude that I've known for a very long time called me today and was like, he just watched this apparently here in the last couple weeks. And he thought I was being serious. He was like, I thought that maybe that's something that had happened. That's hilarious, Admiral Eric. We'll talk about the ads here in a second again, so everybody can know. But no, I just thought that was very bizarre that like that. I was like, dude, you don't know me at all. Like, are you kidding? He was like, man, you had me convinced. And he's like, I don't know if it was the music. So that was very, very bizarre. That's how I started the day out. I had a good friend of mine call and ask if I was in love with Dan Ridenhour. And so I was like, no, I am not in love with Dan Ridenhour, nor am I in love with Sue Arrington or Richard Ivey or Nora Powell or any of those other freaks. It was a joke. It was very much, and where that came from, obviously, was the joke that we put out, the satire I put out of the Amber Green video. I went ahead last night after we got everything rebooted, and I did put up the Amber Green video. For those of you that have not had a chance to see how that turned out, I will play that here for you. I'm not going to play Amber's video. I'm just going to play my parody video. Here's the parody video of Amber Green.
People ask me pretty frequently, how do you deal with the internet hate? And there's two things that I think about all the time when it comes to this. The first one is don't take criticism from anybody that you wouldn't take advice from, and don't take advice from anybody that you wouldn't trade places with. Most of the people that I'm making mad, that tells me that I'm doing something right, because those aren't people that I set my standards to. Those aren't people that I want to attain the level that they're at. I've surpassed that level. So if I'm making them mad, I'm doing something right.
Ta-da! That was like a...
Okay, so I feel like I have to tell my story.
Absolute masterpiece, what I did there. And I'm assuming that's a very limited pool you will take advice from. Yeah, right? That's a very limited pool you will take advice from. You will miss a lot of great advice being that narrow-minded. You know what's funny is somebody told me that she would probably repost that and talk about like how this is obsession and my haters just love to hate. And I was like, today I was thinking, man, it's going to be like at least a couple of weeks before I have to see her. Next week I'll have to see her at the meeting, but I was like, it'll be died down by then. And then she walked in tonight and sat right behind Brandon and I. Literally, I turned to Brandon and I was like, is that Amber? And he's like, I don't think it is. And I looked back and I was like, it's got to be Amber. It's either Amber or Judy Calhoun. I get them both confused from depending how far away in the room they are. But no, it was Amber. And she didn't have anything to say, but, you know, it is what it is. So there's the story time. It was fun. It was what it was. And that was that. Really quickly about the ads. I want to talk about the ads. I don't know if Brandon is still here. That is true, Kate. I don't know if Brandon is still here. I don't know if Brandon can explain or maybe send it in the group and explain what you saw with the ad. So I know I tried to explain this when I was outside the other day, but I had lots of things going on and I didn't do a very good job. So I'm going to explain it like this. When we first started doing YouTube, essentially, we never had ads during live videos. There were never ads during live videos. And the only time people would get ads is the people who watch after the fact. So if we close the show out at 11:15 and the show ends at 11:15 tonight, and then somebody would click on at 11:30 to watch the show, and they would watch the show in an hour and 45 minutes from 11:30 onward, then they would get anywhere from one ad to 3 ads. If I would do an hour and a half to hour 45 minute show, I would put 3 ads in it. If we would do like a 2 hour and 20 minute show, I'd put 4 ads in it. And the ads were only 5 to 15 seconds long. And they would be at the very beginning, the very end, and like right in the middle. Okay. Well, then we had that situation a while back where all of a sudden, and it's not anything to do with us, YouTube does this. YouTube goes in every so often and changes things. We have it set up to where the people that watch live are not, that's how we've always wanted to do it, where the people who watch live are not inundated with ads, because we are not here to make billions of dollars. Well, although that would be great. That would be wonderful to make billions of dollars doing this. We're okay with just a little bit of money and doing this. The most important thing is getting the story out, getting the information out. And so, even when people watch it the next day, if somebody watches this episode tomorrow, I'm not trying to kill them with ads. I only want 1 to 2 or 3 ads in there and spread out and very short, and you can skip them and do whatever. Well, I have YouTube Premium, so I don't ever see ads. If I logged on and wasn't doing it through monitoring, if I actually logged on to YouTube and watched this show or any other show, I never would get an ad. My grandparents, they used my account at their house, so they never see my ads. Kate logs on. She's got her own, but she also will sometimes use the political spotlight, and she doesn't see the ads like that. Well, YouTube changed the game about 8 months ago, and we had to fight through it, and we figured out what to do, and we were able to stop the ads for the most part during the live videos. Well, I'm just letting you guys know this. They have once again changed how they do their thing. It's out of our control. We have done everything that I could do. I've sent in to our handler at YouTube. I've sent an email in, and we've got everything set to the lowest settings possible to where it doesn't just completely rape us out of money, but it also is not killing you guys. So I'm just here to tell you, and this, I guess it's a good thing there's not lots going on. I'm here to tell you that goal. I'm here to tell you that if you get ads, I'm sorry. That's not our plan. We're not trying to annoy you with ads. We will never make it just bang, 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 bang. If it's ever like that for you, please let me know. You can say it in the comments. You can send me a message on Facebook. You can email me. You can message Kate. You can call me, text me. Please, 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 if you are having a massive, unpleasant time with ads, please get in contact with us and let us know. Here's all the ways that you can contact us. Okay? Let us know. That being said, whatever's going on currently with the ads, it's now out of our hands, and Facebook is doing YouTube is doing what they do. So I apologize for that. They're in the business to make money. And I guess they help us too. But I want you guys to know my goal is to make you guys see as much of the content. You don't pay for anything. We don't ask you guys to pay. We for those of you that provide money periodically or do a membership or donate money or super chat or whatever, we appreciate everything you do. And we appreciate those of you that set through the ads. I would just ask you that, it's like this. It's you're paying for the content you enjoy. We don't ask for payment. The only thing that you have to do, your token into this show is hopefully hitting the like button, hopefully subscribing to the channel. It's free. Hopefully watching us on YouTube or getting to YouTube at some point in your life and doing those things. And above all else, sharing the show with everyone you know. Help spread the word. that's the payment that we ask for the program. We don't ask for money. I guess I have to put the caveat on there. If you could just deal with a couple, because we really have no other choice. So I just got a free tote bag. Get out. You said... I just got a free tote bag. Get out. You said get out. How to get rid of that. It's recording. What? I don't know what you're saying. But yeah, YouTube is the best way to watch. And please let me know what you're saying, Karen. I don't know. If you got a free tote bag, I can give you a free tote bag. I got a tote bag I could give you. I don't know if that's what you're asking. I'll give you a free tote bag. It's Primary Arms. It's a gun company. But I got a tote bag I can give you. I wish it said the political spotlight, but it is what it is. So, okay. Hey, we should probably talk about some politics tonight, shouldn't we? Don't you think? That's the name of the episode. State Representative J.D. Prescott's property tax fantasy tour comes to Muncie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end. Have a good night. No, listen. So Brandon and I, it was the ad. Oh, and you got a free tote bag? You got a free tote bag? Can you star the comment about the person that got arrested? We are going to come back and talk about that. So let me get through this J.D. Prescott stuff, and then we'll talk about a couple of other things that are important. Don't go anywhere. We are going to talk about some important stuff here tonight. So first and foremost, J.D. Prescott had his performance, his presentation tonight at the Elks Club. It was standing room only, basically, by the time it got going. We got there at 6 o'clock. We got there like at 5 minutes till 6. And it was me and Brandon and Stephen Brand Rick Yenser was at the bar. And like 2 other people. And Brandon and I sat down up front at a table, and we were like, dude, does this thing starts at 6 o'clock? JD's not even here. And like at 6:04, JD walked in, and I was like, dude, is this it? This is it? So then Jackie's getting annoyed with me. Jackie's like, get to it. That's Jackie's. She's always so polite, but that's Jackie's. I can interpret Jackie really well. Look, this right here in English, this is saying, damn it, get to it. Get to the point already. So we were there and we're like, what's going on with this thing? Why is there no one here, including the main man? Why is Prescott not here? And so we thumbed through what Kate had sent us, and we realized, oh, it didn't start at 6 o'clock. Like I've literally wrote down everywhere and been telling everybody for weeks. It started at 6:30. So then Brandon and I were like really pissed off because we got there like 35 minutes early, which is ridiculous. So slowly but surely, Prescott started coming in, and he got there, and people started funneling in, and it quickly filled up. There were a number of people there at the facility, and I'm gonna see here if I can get it show you. Yeah, here. Okay. I'll be going to his event on July 13th in Pike Township. Whitty, where's Pike Township? Send me the link. Send me the picture of that, or the address or something. I might want to come down there and sit with you and see what goes on. They knew it was on Bilbrey time. Absolutely. Amanda's not even been here that long, and she knows that. Dude, that is amazing, Amanda. So I'm going to show you here. I'm going to get the video up and let you guys see it eventually, but it was pretty Northwest Marion County. Oh yeah, I'll come to that. The 13th. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's on a Monday. Yeah, I'll have to take a look and come down to that. That would be a pretty good time. So we are actually going to do a show coming up. It'll probably be the first of next week with me, and we're in the works of trying to get Brandon on and John Bartlett. Thank you, Whitty. I will take a look at that now and get that saved. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. So we are going to do a full breakdown about the plan, what he's telling people, why we think it's not a good plan, where things are going wrong. We're going to do that whole breakdown. We want to give you all of the facts. I recorded the entire program, but I don't know how the recording turned out, because I literally, when the program ended, I was on the far side of Delaware County. I was on the far west side of Delaware County, and I had to get all the way to the studio in time to do the show. And I was like pushing it, because like we got out at like 10 after 8. And I was like, woo, I'm going to be on fire doing everything I got to do. I got to be honest. Prescott walked in. He walked up. He handed us his paperwork. He says, hello, Bilbrey. Hello, Brandon. He was very cordial. He was seemed like he was interested to see us there. I gotta be honest. He's been doing this long enough now that he is he's been doing this tour long enough now that he is now good at telling the pitch, selling the pitch. You know, it sounds like he knows what he's talking about. It was interesting. The crowd was made up of probably, of everybody there, the crowd was probably made up. I'd be interested to get Brandon's feedback, but I would say the crowd was like 60-40. 60-40 being 60% conservative, 40% anything other than conservative, meaning there might have been Republicans there, but they weren't necessarily conservative. There were Democrats, there were socialists there. So then, as now putting all those numbers back in, the people who were supportive of the program, there were probably like 30% of the entire group that was very supportive of what he was doing, cheering and clapping. And when they would ask their questions, they would start out with saying, "We really love what this plan has to say. We really love what you're doing with this plan. We really love this. We love you, J.D. Prescott. We love everything you're doing." There were then 30% of the people, maybe 40%, that were like totally against it and just didn't like him and were, challenging him. So that's 70%. And then there were 30% that was in the middle. They liked some of the things he said. No, that unfortunately he didn't run screaming from the room. Nobody mentioned his mother. I'll be honest. I'm very conflicted about ding, 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 ding. Jackie hit this on the head. I got a problem with this. So, to me, when he started this push, this was not a political campaign. He was not campaigning for re-election. Yes, he was running for re-election, and that was mixed in his life. But on top of running for re-election, he was pushing this House Bill 1288. And when he was pushing this, I was under the impression, or maybe I wasn't under the impression, maybe I thought that, okay, he's pushing this as a state representative, going out and talking, one, to his constituents, and number two, to the other citizens around the state, to the local officials around the state, to the other state representatives and the state senators around the state. Because think about this. He's only running for election this time in District 33. The people that can vote for him are only the people in Blackford County, in Randolph County, in parts of Jay, parts of Delaware, and parts of Henry. The people aren't voting for him in Seymour. The people aren't voting for him in Pike Township. The people aren't voting for him in Frankton. The people aren't voting for him in Kosciuszko County. They can't vote for him. They can't vote for him. It doesn't matter what he says or does. So I gave JD a little bit of credit and said, you know what? He's actually doing his damn job. He's going out. No, listen, because this is where I get to where Kate's at. I was like, he's doing what he should be doing because he can't get votes from these people. What I noticed was, And Whitty talked about this the other day on his show. The lawsuit with Brandon and J.D. J.D. was given the choice to unblock Brandon and everyone else or delete his account. And J.D. was told if he ever started an account up, he would have to allow everybody on. Now, if his account is a campaign account and he used it solely to campaign, then he could block people. Okay, well, he created a campaign page and he was careful for a very long time. Now, I don't consider what he's doing here campaigning, because when he goes to Frankton and when he goes to Pike Township and when he goes to Seymour and wherever he's going, these people can't vote for him. Those people are not his voters. They're not his true constituents. Okay? So I thought what he was doing was going around and selling this piece of legislation that he's trying to push forward. First of all, we're going to talk about the bill, and we're going to talk about all the nuts and bolts of it coming up. What this show is for, what this episode is for, is to break down my thoughts about the meeting. Okay? So there's the elect. So he pushed this on his campaign page. And this is where I really started thinking, like, this is a problem, because he's now talking about state business, the business of being a state legislator, on his campaign page. Now he's turning this campaign page into a political...
The United States House.
Into a political page, into his government page. Anytime you talk about actual business on a campaign page, it makes it no longer a campaign page. Remember, that's what the lawsuit with Sproles was over. Sproles kept saying, this is a campaign page. And it was our contention that, no, this is not a campaign page. That was not a campaign page. Sproles' page was his official government page where he was notifying. He's acting in his official capacity as a state representative. Yes, absolutely. However, we get to this event today. And one of the very first things that we see is he hands us out a little piece of paper that's got some of his talking points on it. And this is the very first thing that we see. Okay. Down here at the bottom, it's a disclaimer. And that disclaimer says, paid for by J.D. Prescott for state representative. And I was shook. What do you mean? This is a campaign ad. This is campaign literature. This is not, hey, I'm going and pushing a bill to the people in the state. He's campaigning, and I'll be honest, I don't think he's campaigning for District 33. I think he's on some kind of campaign because he's looking at what's next. He's currently running for District 33 one more time, but he just witnessed Jim Banks push nobody, Max Engling, to the Secretary of State's office. Boom, bang, pow. Right there, boom. Nobody knew who he was. And here JD's been back in the trenches licking his feet and paying his dues and doing whatever he was told. And now JD is thinking it's my turn. So JD is campaigning for a bigger seat.
Well, and this is the perfect opportunity for him, because how many people here repeal property taxes and quit listening?
Yep. Every single person, everybody
quits listening at that point. So he can go out and talk about whatever he wants to, as long as he says, repeal property taxes, no more property taxes, repeatedly over the course of the event. He looks like a freaking genius.
Yeah.
So this is the perfect thing to campaign for higher office on, because people go tone deaf after hearing repeal property taxes. So nobody notices that he's actually a dumbass.
Yeah. So I want to be clear. He's still dumbass JD. Somebody has parroted this to him. Now, he has his presentation more polished from what he was doing, 2 elections ago, 3 elections ago. But listen, that's what I always say. Anybody can do anything long enough, and you're eventually going to get good at it. Or if you don't, you are absolutely 100% mentally defective. If you do something for this long and you can't ever polish yourself up a little bit, then something's broken. So JD is better than what he was last time this was going on. Two elections ago, 3 elections ago. He's still not capable of thinking on his feet. Repetition, absolutely. 100%. 1,000%. But he's still not able to think on his feet. He's still not able to get these questions that are coming. When somebody asks him a question that starts out with, "I love what you're doing, man. I think that this is great." He knows he's got it in the bag. But when somebody questions him and someone says, like Brandon asked a real good question, made a point. Brandon said, people obviously change. Me, where I'm sitting now, I still consider myself a young man, but I'm in a pretty good spot right now. Have a new house, have a new car. I mow my own yard, change the oil in my car. Nothing's wrong with my car. I'm not going to need to call a heating and air guy out to my property for the next 30 years. I'm not going to have to call a plumber out for the next 30 years. My house is brand new. I mow my yard. The amount of services that I pay for in a year is not much. And if you compare me now, 45-year-old Brandon or Bilbrey, or, because I'm basically in the same boat Brandon is at this point, where if you take 22-year-old Bilbrey or 22-year-old Brandon, and you've got a car with 150,000 miles on it. Brandon's like, I didn't even know how many miles my car had because my odometer was broken. It stopped going around. I was in the shop every other week. I didn't live in a brand new house. I lived in a shithole rundown, where I had to have the plumber come out. I had to have, the electric wasn't up to code and things were going to burn down. I had to have people out. This would have killed me as a 22-year-old adult kid, whatever you want to call it, 22-year-old kid.
Well, even looking at senior citizens, this is going to kill them.
Yeah, right.
Fixed income senior citizen.
Yep.
You're older, Mowing your lawn is hell.
Yep.
Getting down on your knees trying to fix a pipe, hell.
Yep.
Just because you're older.
Well, it's just that it's that whole arc.
Pay for the services.
Yep.
Right.
Kid,
Same
adult,
thing with the disabled.
Yeah.
Disabled vets.
Disabled veterans, elderly
We
people.
got one here that's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Eric, how much of your work around your house do you do on your own?
Yeah.
How much do you pay someone else to do? You know, the disabled, the young, the old, this is going to kill them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this keep going, because the amount of revenue this stupid thing's supposed to bring in is astonishing.
That's the thing. That's what's crazy about this. $50 a mow right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so where are you at on this, Whitty? What's your thoughts? I mean, have you been to any of JD's plans, or will this be the 13th? Will that be the first time you've heard this? I mean, are you in a position where you have an opinion on this now? What's your thought on this? And if you're not watching, I'm all kind of what?
Whitty's review.
Whitty's reviews. I'm kind of meh on the whole mouthwash deal, but
yeah.
But Whitty's reviews, you should be checking that out. If you guys aren't checking that out,
I'll find a link for you.
You should be. Kate's going to put a link up to Whitty's things. You can find it on Facebook, and you can find it on YouTube. If you go on Facebook, you got to go through mouthwash. If you go on YouTube, you can just type in Whitty's reviews. Kate's going to put up a link. There's the link in the comments, but you guys should be checking that out if you're not. He's on, I think, on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And think about it. He's on Tuesdays an hour before our show. So it's like, we're not competing. It's wonderful. You can go turn on Whitty's reviews and then come right over here as soon as Whitty reviews in. There's nothing going on Tuesdays after Whitty's reviews.
And since we're on Bilbrey time, you actually have probably till like...
Yeah, you got a few minutes. Yeah. You can watch his, let it end, go use the bathroom, get a drink, and get you set up. He had a presentation on the property tax plan last year at meeting in Avon. I still have the flyer. I'm not buying his tax plan. Yeah, it's a load of crap. And this is what Brandon and I were saying, and Brandon and I have been saying this for a while. They're not going to say, okay, we're going to repeal the property taxes. No more property taxes. Now, next year, we're going to go ahead and start this new service tax. No. What they're going to do is there's going to be some overlap. They're going to start the service tax. So we're going to be paying service taxes and property taxes. What I think they're going to do is they're going to realize, man, this isn't working the way we thought it was going to work. So they're not going to be able to repeal the property tax, and we're going to be stuck with the service tax because, once they put something in place, they never pull it back. So we're just going to be screwed again. The other thing is the money. This is going to be a tax increase. Like, I'm all for doing away with property taxes, but it has to be done the right way.
Well, did you read how much revenue this thing's supposed to bring in? I love the way they worded on this thing too. That's hilarious.
Is it on this page?
It's on there. It's on there. I think it's up a bit.
Is it this?
No, that's something else. That's how they're going to distribute the funds. Go down. I'm pretty quick. Keep going. Right. A little bit more right there. Stop.
Okay. Explanation of state revenues. Sales tax on service. The bill extends 7% sales and use tax to services beginning July 1st, 2027. This provision would increase revenue by an estimated 13.3.
No. $13,303 million.
13,303 million.
Would you like to translate that into normal language?
Yeah.
It is 13.3 billion to 15 almost 4 billion.
Yeah. That's
the first year.
That's
do you know what
ridiculous.
Property tax revenue brings in right now, approximately?
What did they say it was? It's
11 billion.
And so think about that.
Right now,
property
billion.
tax right now, what everybody's bitching about brings in $11 billion.
Mm-hmm.
JD's repeal and replace plan brings in $2 billion more than what we're currently paying.
And $4 billion more.
Yeah, between yeah.
That's in 2028. And in 2029, that'll be between 15 and 17 billion. So 6 billion more in burden on taxpayers in 2 years.
This is like saying,
so how is this going to help anyone?
I've got COVID, and I'm like, I can take your COVID away, but I'm going to give you cancer. No, I'm sorry. I think I'll stick with the COVID. We're paying $11 billion right now. Woo, property taxes is big bad. Yeah, I don't like property taxes. Let's take it away. Okay. Well, we're taking away the $11 billion in property taxes. You now pay $15 billion. The lobbyists will be licking their chops to get the industries they represent to be on the exemption tax for sales. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and
then here's my other question.
Yeah.
My electric is a service. So do I get another tax on my electric bill, my water bill, my sewer bill, my trash bill? Those are services. Are those all going to be taxed now too? Because the only thing that they say right now is exempt is health services, mental health services, and what's the other one? There's one other thing.
Did we send you? Did one of us send you the flyer in here?
You sent me the bottom. That was all I saw. I don't remember what the other thing is exempt. Health, mental health. Shit. I'm sorry, guys. I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I've been reading so much about this lately that I can't keep it all straight. Education.
I'm going to try to call Brandon.
That doesn't sound right.
My sheet's in the car. I'm not running up to get it. He's probably in bed.
Probably.
That loser.
Well, he works. He's
not even 10:30 yet. That loser. Brandon. I thought he sent it to you. Because I asked.
No, he only sent me the bottom part of it. I'm sorry, dear.
According to JD's flyer, it says medical education current sales tax exemptions remain tax-free on services.
Okay. So it is education. I apologize, Whitty.
Prescott tax plan paper.
Good night, Alva.
See you, Alva. As usual with the tax issue in this country, this proposal seems to disproportionately benefit wealthy property and corporations while adversely affecting the working class.
Yeah, because how much money are JD's mommy and daddy going to save?
Oh, dude.
Tens of thousands of dollars in property taxes they won't be paying.
Yeah.
He's protecting his inheritance.
Yes. Yeah.
And there was the Capital Chronicle, Kristopher?
Yes.
Did an article about this. I'll get that and I'll post that in here too. That was talking about exactly what Dad was mentioning.
Yes, that Capital
It's a shit
Chronicle
plan. He's an idiot.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not purposefully going through all of that because we're going to do this with Brandon and with John Bartlett coming up. So I don't want to go over that twice. I'm just letting you know that I was interested in what the crowd's reactions. Like I said, out of yes, I will, Jackie. Yes, I can. I will have it posted. I'll put it up. I can't believe other people haven't done that. I'm sure they have other places, but I will look. I will get it posted. If you guys want to see it, I will get it posted to my Facebook and to Twitter as soon as we're off here. I will get that done. But so yeah, it wrapped up. I'm going to when we get off here, I'm also going to listen. I have the whole thing recorded. So if I'm able, if the recording is a decent recording, I will publish that as well, and you guys will be able to hear it. If it's not a decent recording, I will, when I go on the 13th, I know what I can do to get a decent recording. I didn't really plan on doing it. Brandon's like, "Are you going to record this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess I can." So I just did it on a whim. But if it's not a decent recording, I will plan on going on the 13th and down to Pike, whatever he said, in Marion County, and we will get it. So just in wrapping up on this topic before we move on, it was so, I was like, all right, I'm done listening to him. Because here's what happened. At the point after he was done telling what it was the same questions back and forth and back and forth. You had the people who were pro that were yelling, and you had the people that were against yelling, and that's just all they were doing. And it was just like, all right, I got a show to do. Let's get on the ball. Nothing else is happening here. So we will break all of this down. Probably it'll either be a Sunday or a Monday show. So I'll keep you guys posted and let you know. Moving on, before we wrap up, I do want to mention a couple of things. We're going to talk about Muncie city government stuff here in just 1 second, but I feel like we have to talk about this situation where the parents were arrested. Leaving kid in car 10 minutes. We've got to talk about this situation with this Muncie mother who was arrested for allegedly leaving her child in the car. And of course, this comes right on the back of the deputy who was arrested, and all of that. Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you, Kate. I appreciate that. So I want to look at this. I want to talk about this, and we will. I will definitely get that up, Jackie. So it came in, and I knew the minute that this came in, I was like, uh-oh, this is going to get shit going. So the case says, Muncie mom arrested for allegedly leaving kids in hot car at Walmart. Muncie police say the woman left kids in the car that wasn't running for 10 minutes before Walmart security got the kids out and called police. Oh, hold on. Brandon Clower's calling. Hello, Brandon. Were you asleep?
Put him on speaker so we know he's real.
Oh, yes. Well, you're live on air really quickly, so don't say anything embarrassing. Yeah, I probably should have told you that to begin with. Well, I mean, no one could hear you at first, but then Kate's like, put him on so we know he's real. I was calling you because I just wanted to see if you could send me a picture of that J.D. flyer, because I have mine in the car. Do you have yours with you, or did you leave yours in the car too?
No, I can send you in a second. Just back it up.
Yeah, if you can. Yeah, just no hurry, but just whenever.
Yeah, I'll send it to you shortly.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Bye. He didn't answer me because he was watching the TikToks. He really wanted to see the rest of my TikTok story from earlier. Okay, back to the mother. Okay. So let's see here. Muncie, Indiana. A Muncie mom is facing 2 preliminary charges of neglect of a dependent after allegedly leaving her 2 children in a hot car in a Walmart parking lot for 10 minutes. Police got the call shortly before 7 p.m. Tuesday, June 30th, to the 1500 block of East 29th Street near South Macedonia Avenue. Walmart security told them that the mom had left the kids in the car and security had eventually got them out. Okay. Let's see here. 13 News has a policy of not naming suspects until they have been formally charged by prosecutors. When police arrived, they found the children very sweaty and hot to the touch, according to the arrest documents. The mom told police she thought she had left the car running for the kids. When emergency medical services arrived, they said the children were hot and had very high heart rates. Let's see. They were taken to Ball Memorial Hospital to be checked out and treated, according to the Delaware County dispatchers. The temperature was 91 degrees with a humidity of 51%. When the children were found in the car, the responding officer did not have a thermometer, but the officer said the temperature inside the car was much higher. The woman was also wanted on an outstanding warrant and was booked into jail. The Department of Child Services met with the children's grandmother to decide where they would go while their mother was in jail. The final decision to charge will be made by the Delaware County prosecutor. IEMS, which is from Indianapolis, that's not Delaware County or Muncie, has reported a significant increase in heat-related injuries, while central Indiana is under extreme heat warning due to dangerously high heat indices. That's the end. Okay. I'm going to make some of you mad, and I'm okay with that. We'll just get through this. It'll be very calm, very easy. I have said from the get-go that Nathan Coffey definitely should not have been brought back to work in January. I think that was the wrong decision to do, and I told Jeff Stanley that here in the last couple of weeks. I told him to his face that I thought that was a wrong decision to do. I also think that he should have been charged with something. I don't know that his life should have been forever ruined. because, in my mind, I'd like to think that his life is forever ruined in a way because he has lost a child. Now, maybe it's not. Maybe he didn't care. I don't know. I don't know anything about him. I do know that there are a certain aspect of people that they don't care about the facts of the case. They don't care anything. The facts be damned. This guy needs to be charged simply because he was a cop. Again, I'm going to say his copness had nothing to do with this incident. It might have had something to do with the results. That's yet to be seen. We'll have to discuss that when we see everything and see the reports. That being said, he wasn't on duty when this happened. This wasn't a duty issue. This was something when he was off duty with his kids. For the people saying 2 different scenarios, 2 different outcomes, I have to disagree, because this woman was arrested on a prior warrant. She was arrested on a warrant. She had a warrant. She was arrested. If her car would have been on, and if the police would have been walking to the store to get something to drink, and they would have seen her, and her kids wouldn't have been with her, and they would have known her name, she would have been arrested because she had a warrant. If there was nothing going on with her kids, and they came in contact with her and knew her name, she could very well could have been arrested. We also are not aware. She very well could have, if she didn't have that warrant, she might have not been arrested. She could have been let go, and they could have said, we're going to turn all this into the prosecutor's office and make a decision. Now, I don't know the facts of this case, just as until I read the police reports, I know what the prosecutor's office said, the 2 special prosecutors, but I want to see the report of the other case. I need to see those police reports. I think there is a little bit of a difference between knowingly having your kids in your car when you go to a store and saying, I'm leaving you in here when I run in, and being in there for over 10 minutes with the car off. And I don't know, maybe this lady has other situations going on. Maybe she had 2 deaths in her family, and who knows? I don't know what the situation is. We're going to have to see. And I'm not making excuses for Nathan Coffey. It's a horrible situation. I'm just saying, people have to, each case like this has to be measured solely on its own, outside of anything else. They could have babysat the kids on camera, help a mom out. But they were in the car. You couldn't leave them in the car and then be hot. You can't do that. I mean, the kids needed to be removed from the car. I do agree with that. Or the car needed to be on. I mean, listen, this isn't about not leaving people in cars. You can be left in the car. But you got to have like the air on. I mean, the car's got to be left on. I'd say I would say she probably didn't have gas, so they can't leave the car running. I'm just assuming now. But the reason she was arrested had nothing to do with no, I'm not saying that. Is that the reason she was arrested had nothing to do with the situation with the kids. The reason she was arrested is because she had a warrant. And a lot of people are not talking about that. So there's going to be information that comes out in the next couple of days. We will compare this. I obviously have a record request into the Indiana State Police for the other. Listen, you've got to be careful when you're reading this. I'm going to show it to you here, and I'm going to walk you guys through it. Listen, a mom is facing 2 preliminary charges of neglect of a dependent. Okay? She could be facing those with either going to jail or not going to jail. That's just when a prosecutor reviews. It doesn't say is formally charged. It says she's facing 2 preliminary charges. Okay? It says here, the woman was also wanted on an outstanding warrant and was booked into the jail. Okay? She was booked into the jail on that warrant. That's the reason she was arrested. They will then forward that neglect paperwork to the prosecutor's office, and a prosecutor's office investigator and a deputy prosecutor will then make the determination if those charges are to be filed or not. And it's just going to come down to the information in the police report. It's going to come down to what the video from Walmart shows, the kids' EMS, being checked out with all the medical stuff, what the mother said, the time period she was left in there, and all of that. You know what I mean? If they don't have a driver's license, you don't leave them in a car that's running. I don't know about that. I think you can leave a 12 or 13-year-old kid in the passenger seat of a car with it running and the doors locked. We did that lots of times as a kid. I got no problem with that. I don't know. I mean, look, people do all kinds of different things.
We also had parents who had 3 kids in the back seat driving through the night. One of us sleeping on the floor, one of us sleeping on the seat, and one of us sleeping in the window.
Yeah, right. I did that lots of times.
So saying that we got left in the car with the air conditioning on frequently is not really that great of a plug there, bud.
We're just going to have to look. People should not. Listen, you can be mad about this. You can be mad about the cop. I'm mad about the cop. I'm mad about this. I'm mad about all of it. I'm mad about what she did. I'm mad about what the cop did. We're going to have to get all of the information, and people are going to have to start comparing these cases. There are some cases you can compare with other situations. There are some situations that have to be seen on a case-by-case basis. They have to be looked at by the facts of each individual case on its face. And that's what I think people have to be careful with. Okay, so we talked about that. We'll continue looking into this. I'll continue letting you guys know what's going on with this, and we will follow up with this. We'll follow up with the state police records and all of that. Okay. I want to now take you guys to an email that I received last night. So if you guys remember, last night I was kind of griping. I said I had been waiting to hear back from Nora, and I had not heard back from her, and I was getting a little upset. Okay. So last Friday, after the public services meeting, I sent Nora the following email. The email said, Counselor Powell, first, just a quick follow-up. As of this evening, Friday, 6/26/26, has the Controller's Office complied with the first action point in Resolution 826? Remember, the deadline was last Tuesday. He only had until last Tuesday to comply. Controller's Office to provide the documents due to council. The trigger date was June 9. The deadline was the end of the day on June 23rd. And the controller had not complied by the end of the date on June 23rd. On June 24th, I emailed the controller and said, are you going to comply, or have you guys decided to not comply? He refused to respond to that. So I asked Nora, they have failed to comply. I want to know, we're now 3 days past that. We're Friday, June 26th. Has he complied in these last couple of days? If they've not complied, do you have any idea of what your next step will be? Okay, I wanted to know that. Then second, I heard you ask Greg Martz for a copy of his presentation from the fire department deal. As you may have known, maybe you heard me griping about it at the meeting, or maybe you weren't aware, but the entire presentation by Greg Martz this evening did not live stream. So if you would be so kind, please forward me the copy of his presentation. If/when he sends it to you, that would be cool. Okay, that is it for now. Thank you in advance. Nora sent me the following email. Mr. Bilbrey, I apologize for the delay. Mr. Wright responded, but made little effort to provide the documents described in Resolution 826. Rather, he provided links to publicly available reports. We can still submit questions. That's it. That's all she had to say. That's all she had. That's it. Next, as to your second point, I will send it tomorrow. Unfortunately, our email server is rejecting attachments. IT has been working to fix this for the last 36 hours. Okay, so two things. This makes me mad. So Craig Wright responded. First of all, he didn't respond by the deadline. So he said, you know what? I don't care about your resolution. I don't care about your deadline. I know I have a deadline, but I'm not going to respond by the deadline. So he stuck his middle finger to him. Then, after that deadline came and went, at some point between Wednesday the 24th, Thursday the 25th, or Friday the 26th, sometime in there, he finally responded by email to them, but he did not provide what they had requested. He gave them some links to some publicly available reports that they already had access to. He is not complying with their request. Now, I don't know what the council is prepared to do, but I think the council has to strike hard. They have to strike fast, and they need to let them know this is not okay. This is not acceptable, and we are now going to go through the court to make sure that you guys play by the rules. I feel like that's their only choice, but I'm worried they're not going to do it because she didn't provide any follow-up. So I'm going to send an email to them asking all of them, but specifically her, what are you guys going to do about this? They need to be upset about this Resolution 826 and the disrespect and the complete lack of responsibility and this very cavalier attitude to doing what they're requested. And the council needs to push back on this. But then to the second point, that's only about Resolution 826. Now we're talking about Ordinance 926, the fire department deal. And we got a council meeting coming up in less than a week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 5 days. 5 days. We've got a council meeting. Just absolutely insane. It's wrong. And thank you, Kate. It's wrong, and I don't know. So that's that. Now, I don't know if she managed to send it to me. Maybe they're still having the same problems. That's a whole other issue in and of itself. Why are they having problems like this? They should not be having problems. Why do they have so much issue with emails? Problems with emails. But hell, that's just one problem. Today was the Board of Works meeting. But guess what? No live stream. They didn't live stream the damn thing. Why? Why did they not live stream the meeting? So I sent an email to Amber, Shireen, Lacey, Ted, Dan, Jeff Howe, and Alva. And I said, did the Board of Works meet today? If so, is there a stream or recording of the meeting? To her credit, Lacey responded and said, sorry, I was responding. Lacey responded and said, they did meet. There was technical difficulties with the live stream software. Wop, 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 wop. So a mobile video was taken. I assume it will be posted soon. What in the hell? Why is this so difficult? I will never understand why it's so difficult for these people to do the absolute bare minimum. I cannot comprehend this. So, no, they've not posted it. There's no meeting posted as of tonight. So, who knows? Maybe we will see. I doubt it. No, they've still not posted the full meeting from the recording from last Friday's Public Service Committee meeting. This is a major ordeal that I guess I'm going to have to bring up with the council on Monday. And I'm sure Amber's not going to like it, but it is what it is. So that's the follow-ups with Muncie. The only last thing that I wanted to say was a follow-up about a situation in Delaware County. And I'm sure he's not watching. Dave Wagner. I don't know if he watches afterwards. I don't know if he watches just periodically, or maybe he's mad because he didn't get the answer he wanted. But I'm going to follow up with him. Dave Wagner, and a man that I do not know him from Adam. I thought he watched the show pretty regularly. And I appreciate whether he watches and he likes what we say, or he doesn't like what we say, or whatever. I appreciate him watching, no matter whether he likes us or not. I appreciate that he watches and has an opinion and is willing to voice his opinion, whether I agree or not. Okay, I respect it all. He came on and he asked me to look into a situation. He asked me, he is the one that told me that he heard that Chief Deputy Jeff Stanley had chewed out a deputy for answering a call in the city, and that he told the deputies, we don't take calls in the city of Muncie. If you want to take calls in the city, go join MPD. Now, prior to talking to anybody, I said, I can answer this being a former police officer, having an understanding of the county would come in the city all the time and jump calls and things like that. Periodically, they go through this period. So, first off, everybody has a really good working relationship. The city of Muncie, Delaware County, Gaston, Eaton, Albany, Selma, Daleville, Yorktown, Ball State, State Police, Conservation. Everybody gets along and everybody helps each other out. City will help the county will help the city. Everybody helps everybody. If the call goes out, people will help. Delaware County is the biggest area. All small towns and the city falls inside the county. Okay? That being said, the county, the state police, Ball State Police, Daleville, Eaton, Gaston, Selma, they all have the same police powers. Nobody's one up the other one. State troopers aren't better than local police. County police aren't better than local or small town or city. Everybody does the exact same job, has the exact same powers and exact same authority. Everybody will help each other out. However, at the same time, while we technically don't have jurisdiction in the state of Indiana, meaning a cop is a cop in Indiana if they went through ILEA statewide. That being said, when you're hired by Muncie, you work in Muncie. You don't go down and run traffic on Highway 3 between the bypass and Memorial Park in Newcastle. You just don't do that. When you're a Yorktown cop, you don't go and run traffic up in Eaton. Okay, that just doesn't happen. Okay. County guys, county brownies can pull cars over on McGalliard. They can pull cars over on Madison. They can do whatever they want to do. But they also have to be doing tours of duty. The majority of their duty needs to be out protecting the county, the neighborhoods, the business areas out in the area, unless you're Shotgun Johnny Sproles, absolutely. And every now and then, it seems like the county goes through these stretches where they get an influx of younger guys on the department that wants to get into crazy shit. You know, chances are, if you're out patrolling around Cowan, you're not going to get into some big pursuit. You're not going to find somebody selling crack cocaine. You're not gonna, get in a big shootout and kick doors open. It might happen once in a blue moon, but it's not going to happen frequently. So the younger guys periodically will start sneaking around back closer to the city. They'll go out and they'll do their thing, but then they start working themselves back. They find reasons to be in the city, reasons to jump calls. And from time to time, the leadership of the county has to remind their young guys, hey, you got a star on your patch. It's not a Muncie patch. You wear a star, not a shield. You need to get out there in the county and work for the taxpayers that pay your salary. Okay? Listen. That's something that should happen because Muncie has their own police. Muncie has their police. If Muncie needs help, they'll call the county. But this Dave Wagner kept saying, no, I heard specifically it was this issue. And I reached out and I talked to Tony, and Tony's like, look, we tell our guys they know where they have a job to do. We have no problem helping the city out. When the city needs help, if the city needs help, we help them all day, any day. But we have areas that we need to patrol. I get it. I got family that live out in the county. I want my people out there protected just the same as the people in the city. I get it. This one issue kept coming up. And finally, I had a chance to ask Jeff Stanley about this issue. And I said, did a guy jump a call in the city and you chew his ass? And he said, you're damn straight I did. And I was like, oh. And he said, let me explain to you why. And I was like, okay. And I'm not going to go into detail with what he said, but I'm telling you, with my training and experience and past life in law enforcement, what he said, what he did was 100% something that needed to be said, needed to be done. No hard feelings. Everybody's okay with it. The city's protected. The county's protected. The Delaware County Sheriff's deputies have not been told you can't help the city, don't take calls in the city. They will never be told that. Never, ever, ever. They will never be told that. The Sheriff's Department and the city, they work good together. I'm sure there's some bad apples here and there's some bad apples there. It's always the case everywhere. But for the most part, everybody does well together. And I just wanted to put that information out. That's something that we've been talking about. It's been brought back up a lot of times. And I did finally reach out to Stanley. I asked him. Stanley was truthful about it and explained the situation. And I just wanted to put that out there. Dave may never see or hear this, but I did my part. I told him I would get it asked and I would get an answer, and I responded. And if Dave wants to get a hold of me privately, I will go into a little bit more detail. I'm still not going to drop any names or whatever, and I'm not going to give much of the information, but I will hopefully be able to make him feel better about the situation. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't like that somebody for some reason. I have no clue. That said, in my opinion, nothing was detrimental to the citizens of Muncie. Nothing was detrimental to the citizens of the county, and nothing was bad. Everything's okay. It's perfectly valid reason for what happened. So, that said, well, let me ask this. Why do you not like either of the guys? Or I haven't really heard what your, I don't know how you, what your thought is on the sheriff's department. What's your thinking there, Stumblefoot? You just don't like either one of them, or what? I've just never heard you say that before, so I don't know what your thoughts are there. That is definitely fair. I like both of them as people. I mean, I know them differently, you know. I mean, I know them differently, so that's the thing. But I've got different feelings about each one. I mean, they're both good feeling. I mean, I don't have a problem with either one of them. I'm sure there will things I will disagree with both of them on, but they support violating my Fourth Amendment rights with flock cameras. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever heard either one of them speaking in favor of it. Wait till you hear very soon. We're going to be talking more about the situation in Henry County with those 2 deputies that got in trouble for ghost employment, and that's related to flock, and that's going to have a big issue, a big negative stain for flock. And I've been getting more active in the anti-flock campaign, and when this shit comes out about these 2 deputies, it's going to give flock in this area, it's going to give flock a real bad look. So I will keep you guys posted on that and let you know what there is. So you clearly mean Dave Williams. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Listen, here's the video. Here's the paper. And I will get this out. I will see if I got a clean copy. That's crazy. That's funny. But I will get this posted for Jackie and for everybody else. What is this? Look at this. Wait a minute. So this just pops up and goes away, but this fades it in and fades it out. Ooh, that looks nifty. Dude, they're making all kinds of neat little gadgets for us. I don't know, Dave. Does he think he is funny? Or is he funny? How would I know if he's funny or if he thinks he's funny? I don't know anything about him. I mean, I know him personally, but I don't know if he thinks he's funny. I don't particularly know him to be funny. That's a weird. It's like Amber Green thinks she's. No, it's Green, Green, with an E at the end. That's what I was going to name that video. I was going to name it Bilbrey, Bilbrey with an EY at the end. That's what I was going to call it, because that's what she always says. But I named it. What did I name that video? I named it How Bilbrey Deals with Internet Hate. I named it that instead. So, look at me. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow. Thursday, and we'll see what goes on from there. You guys have a great evening. God bless each and every one of you, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.